Happy rails to you. Welcome back, my friends. Happy rails to you. It's good to see you again. Thanks for watching my channel and the videos. Sometimes they go real fast and sometimes they're slow. Happy rails to you. Thanks for watching. All right, guys, we moved in here to the desk. It is extremely cold outside today. It's like 26 degrees, 25. And as you could see, we've had snow. And it doesn't snow here very often. And so I'm really enjoying the snow, even though I haven't gotten out in it yet. But I've been wanting snow. I've been missing snow as I come from a snowy area. So I've been missing snow for the last, I guess, 2, 3, 4 years, 5 years since we had a little bit of snow. This is quite a bit of snow for us, and probably many years. First time since I've lived here. So I'm just really enjoying it. But as you can see before you, this is a number 623. Originally it was a wind-up American Flyer engine, pre-war. So what I've done, or what I'm going to do, is take this shell and I'm going to convert it into a powered engine. I love my American Flyer pre-war, and unfortunately all of it's not, I don't have motors to make it all original. So once again we'll be using a Marx motor to power this up, which is my favorite combination, and almost the only one I do use for just about everything. I repower my Hornby shells with Marx and my American Flyer. So needless to say, I'm a Marx guy at heart and an American Flyer guy at heart, and at heart Hornby too also, I guess. And I think it's great to have all original, but I also think it's great to have a shell and be able to power it with another great performing classic motor. And that's what Marx is. Now, speaking about the Marx motor, a few things about this particular Marx motor. This is a junk motor that I had, and I put it back together out of parts. I think it actually has a winding problem. The motor does run. I've got it running, and it will pull, but I don't think it's going to have a lot of power to pull over 1 or 2 cars. And I could be wrong. It could get better. It could improve. But I put it's got new brushes in it, and cleaned the armature in it, and we really cleaned these wheels up, and just really went through it, cleaned it, totally cleaned it. It had a lot of, I guess you would call it like thread in it, lint, and it was just really dirty. But we got it clean. I had to make a new bracket for it, to mount in this shell. And so we got that done. And just doesn't perform like I would want it to perform, but it does run. And so right now, temporarily, we're going to use it for the lack of having any other motor that would work. This is the small motor, and it's not the mini, but it's well, you might call it the early mini motor, as this one uses mounting brackets and with screws, and the other ones snap into the shell, and they're a little bit smaller motor. But this is the single geared motored, and just like the older motors, with the exception, still has that wide wheel. It's just, I don't know. These motors aren't that great to begin with. Some of them run really well. The majority of them, they're a little weak, but they use them in the 400s to the 409s primarily, and some of the other early engines. But anyhow, here's the motor we're going to put in it. As I say, I made a bracket for it. I've already started on this. I had to go in, and as you can see, I believe, let's see what we got here. I had to cut out this area here, and I had to cut along this whole ridge right here. Take this all completely out up to here to allow room for the springs, which are here. In the brush housings, which protrude out the side of the motor, which this never was designed for. So I had to remove this excess rim in here. Also, this was bent real bad, and I don't know how it got twisted up like it was, but it was really twisted. Broke loose on one side. I had soldered it on one side, and it didn't hold. So I went back in and put a screw in it. Then I had to make another plate for it to go over top of the existing plate here. And so we got a plate. That takes up the slack. Now, as you can see, it's missing paint in various areas. This is a little bent up. I straightened it up, and then I bent it back out, excuse me, to the shape it was in. And I thought it looked better down in the original way, but when I put this motor in, it does not leave me any clearance from the track. And the front side of this actually touches the track. And that's not a good thing, especially with the center rail. So I had to bend it back up like they had it. I straightened these out too. They were bent out of shape and separated. And so I got them back together. Again, there's some paint missing in places, and I'm gonna sand that down. Sand the whole thing down a little bit, light sand it, and then get rid of these rough spots. The roof extension back here, where's the cab over, it was all bent down and in, and I had to straighten this all back out. That was the worst thing about the whole shell. that and the cowling. It is missing one rod here on the side, one handrail. And of course it has a slot in it, or had a slot in it for the switch for the wind-up motor, and you can see it right there. I filled it in and then covered it with a little red to check to see how it was, whether it was level or how it was going to be. And right now it's okay. I do have a spot here where it was damaged, and I tried to straighten that out some, but I couldn't get it completely straight or completely flat. So there's a little bump there, but it's not bad. As I say, this is the roughest part of the whole engine. The light housing works. These originally had a battery. It was a battery operated light, and the source, the batteries were kept in the tender that this pulled. And now, of course, it's going to be an electric light. So we have our wiring. This is the original wiring. It's still in place. And I got it sitting here in a way that I can mount it after I get the motor mounted, or I can put it on before I mount the motor. Don't know which we're going to do yet. But we're definitely going to go through. I thought about taping the fanials and the smokestack, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to definitely go through and remove what I can. I think I can take off all these finials and the bell. Maybe. But I can definitely take off this spindle and this spindle. And the smokestack's going to be a little harder problem as it sits up over this light housing. And these are riveted in. This boiler front is riveted in. I don't want to drill this rivet out on either side. I want it to stay in original. So the smokestack I'll probably tape up. Now, as you can see, it has the pin hitch right there. All right. So I'm going to get started taking off these finials and this bell if I can get it off. Tape this smokestack up. Then I'll take this handrail off and start sanding. Okay, here we go. A little bit stubborn. We might have to I was going to say, usually they'll come off if I pop them with the screwdriver, but a lot of times I have to get the pliers and put a cloth over it or paper towel. As I say, I don't think I'm going to be able to get to this smokestack, but we're going to try. I have taped around them many days, many times, and got excellent job by doing it that way. But if I can remove it, I would rather remove it because I want to clean it anyhow. And we'll get this one side up. Maybe if I move that one. There we go. All right. Now here comes the hard part, because I can't get in here, clear up here to bend this. So that means I've got to very carefully, I don't want to run the screwdriver into the metal either. Very carefully, there we go. And that comes right out. Now I don't have, I was going to go get a piece of brass wire. I don't have any more lead wire wiring, or that I could pull a wire out of. So I'm going to have to use either iodized copper wire or a small clothes hanger. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. All right. So, because I didn't have to tape this off, that's a great thing. And I can go ahead and just take a piece of sandpaper. First of all, just kind of go over everything. Just color spots, the rough spots. Too bad, actually, that this paint was missing places as it was, because I could just touch it up, which I thought about doing. And still might, because it's actually too cold outside to paint. And I can't paint in my shop because I don't have right ventilation. Now, I have done some painting in there very carefully, very quick little short paint jobs. As to my hot water heater is also in the shop area, so ventilation is necessary, and when I can leave that door wide open and sometimes turn on a fan to draw out the paint fumes, I will sometimes paint in there, as I say, if I'm not making a heavy mist and not doing a lot of painting. But most of my painting is done outside. Now, I'm not trying to take this all down to bare metal. I just want to get everything smooth, where there's no high places, low places, where there's no chips. And there's not very many chips. Most of this paint wear is just that paint wear, or it's just peeled off. Don't have any major dents or scratches except for back here where I'm now sanding on this roof. As I said, I had to straighten that all out. So I got it as good as I could. It's as smooth as I can get it. I had the proper dollies. I could have probably done a little better job. But this is actually pretty good. Couple of coats of paint. With the primer. And it should fill it in nicely. Now, I'd already washed this shell a couple of times, so it was pretty well ready for the sanding. Yeah, I don't want to spend all my time with you sanding, so I'm going to sand on this a little more, and I'll be back. Okay, we're back. Primarily got all the sanding done. In the cab area, these little dark spots, they're dings. They're little places that are low, and there's quite a few of them. They're not real bad. They're not deep. I got most of them beat back out, but that's as good as I'm going to be able to do it, as I was saying. So there are dings in it, but we're going to, when we paint it, we're going to pay special attention to that area. And We're going to try to see if we can cover them. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to spray this down with alcohol. After I clean up some of this sanding dust here, love these mats. Do so many different things on these surfaces. Just wipe them off. Now, this alcohol will also lift out some of those dark stains if I leave it sit there for a while. And it will remove some of the paint. And smooth it back out again. That will help as I paint it. Get it back there. To give it a much smoother, much better surface. And I also take off any dirt and whichever oil residue that would keep our paint from adhering or cause it to separate. Yeah, that's good. Now I figured out And if I can set me up a type of paint booth out in our sunroom, I can probably paint this because there's no heat out in our sunroom. It gets its heat and its air from inside the house when we leave the door open out there. All right. To be able to go from in here to out there. And so it's not quite as cold as being outside. Not near as cold, actually, because of the sun, which we are beginning to lose. And so it's a matter of having this and the paint the same temperature, which they will be the same ambient temperature. And we're going to repaint it red, I think. At least that's my plan. So we're going to let that dry. Yeah, that's going to look good. I'm going to wash my hands. And I'll come back and I'll let you see how good this motor doesn't run, but that it does run. And as I say, there's nothing I can do about it right now. It's got bad windings. I think I've got another one of those somewhere, and I might eventually replace it, but it'd probably be easier for me just to replace the motor. So that's what I'll probably do once I get this all together and set up. It's been that way for a while. I'll run across another motor and put the other motor in it, and I might even make a few other changes. But as for right now, for all purposes, intents purposes, this will work. So I'm going to set this over on the track, go wash my hands, and come back, and we're going to watch it run. All right, guys. Here we go. This is a one-way motor, so only one runs in one direction. But that's the extent of its running. So as I said, it doesn't have a lot of power. I've got to get it up to about 40 amps before it even take off. 40 watts. 14 goes by, I don't know, but 35, 40 scale miles per hour. All right, next, guys, take this back over to the bench. And let me get the things together that I need to paint this. And I think we're going to stop right here, guys, and go with this in the second segment in part 2 of this video. As always, you guys have a blessed day. Have fun with your trains. Enjoy the hobby. And whatever your hobby is, enjoy it. And remember, God loves you and Jesus Christ is Lord. We'll see you in part 2. Bye-bye for now. This has been a Catzilla production. Bye-bye.